Hello, we are so excited to be here. I am Presley Poe, here with the Power of the Collective, and I'm very excited to be doing a French bob for you. I am an international educator specializing in haircutting and color services, and today I get to work with a beautiful model.
Jolie.
I can't wait to bring you a gorgeous French bob. Today I'm going to show you just how simple haircutting can be, but first we have to understand what we're working with, wet hair. Now, why would I be working with wet hair? Because I want a stronger finish. So two things I want you to know. Wet is going to be strong and dry is going to be soft. So we're going to do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 simple sectioning French bob for you. Instead of starting back here today, we're going to start in the front. This is going to help you set up the entire haircut. Now, let's talk about how we're going to do that pretty quickly. I'm going to line it up with the hairline. That's as short as I can go without giving her an undercut. So the most simple and easy way to do that is to find where the hair ends in the nape and guide your comb forward. This is going to show me where I want that hair to lip, which is going to be right at chin length for her. Now I want to take this one step further and create some soft bevel. But what I want you to learn today is that that actually works everywhere. Remember that our techniques are tied directly to a fundamental. And when we move the head from one side to the other, we're creating round in what was once a square shape. Let me show you. So we have hair that has no movement here. You can see that it's just coming straight down. The goal is to get the hair to cup under directly at the chin. So if I were to come in and close my scissor here, it would actually push it out, seeing as it's square to the floor. But I want it to be round, as this is a soft haircut. So I'm going to take my model and we're going to tilt her to the opposite side here. Now what you can see in this detail here is that it's actually allowing the hair to lift up over the ear, taking the guesswork out for you. You don't have to tap the hair or change your tension at all. You can cut square to the floor, having that round pushed into that square shape. So I'm just going to come through, make sure all of that hair is nice and smooth, allowing it to go right over the ear like so, and just tuck wherever it naturally wants to lay. So we're going to cut the hair with zero tension. When you want a strong line, you cut with no tension because the hair is going to bounce up if you use tension. So we're just going to line my scissor up to the back of the hairline. All right, so gently here, and then I'm going to come in and just with my finger, this is called a fulcrum. It's the piece that holds everything together, and we're just going to clip. And you can actually see how that hair automatically started to kick forward and under. So here we go. We're just going to see how this is going to go. Remember, this is your first cut, so it doesn't have to be perfect, and I'm slightly to the side. So I'm going to go right here, making sure that everything's nice and kept, and just tuck it right into the body and just cross-check. It's going to have a stronger finish. Now I'm just going to go in tiny bit of tension and just check what I did. I'm not changing it, I'm just checking it, allowing that hair to go right over, gently allowing it to go over the ear, holding before I even close my fingers. And then there's our cross check. Now that we have the sides done and we're moving on to the back portion, we want a strong and soft finish at the same time. So strong would mean just cutting the hair parallel to the floor. But when we want that softness, remember that we can't be square, we need to move the head into round. See that the hair supports itself slightly on the sides here, buckling out. So we're gonna take care of that first and allow the center piece to lay nice and flat how it does. So I'm going to take into account that the hair lifts itself here and does not lift itself here before we start cutting. As I'm cutting here, I'm going to make sure that the ends match the front. So with very little tension, I can see that it's right up to the nape. So I'm gently going to go right in. Now you can see that the hair is going to lift, so this is where over direction comes in. This is a gentle undercut. Do you see how much softer this is than if I were to just cut the hair like so? One more time. Moving on to our second subsection above the nape. Now, this is a really crucial subsection as it's going to be where you start building your weight and your shape. So here is where we're going to cut true square to the floor with over direction. So square to the floor, and then we're going to add over direction. Do you see how my comb just traveled? So here is where we're going to create a bevel that has some strength to it. First, we're going to start by allowing the hair to connect to the body so that we do not have to hold with tension, allowing the wetness of the hair to kind of be the glue. So we're going to start in the center, aligning our scissors with our previous subsection and just cutting directly square to the floor right up to that previous line. You can see now how where it was once transparent, it's creating this slight soft bevel, which is exactly what we want. Now, I'm here in the sides, and instead of having her look completely forward, which will create a bevel in the back, I actually need her to be tilted to the opposite side of the subsection that I'm working on. So here, she's forward, and then we're just gonna tilt just a little bit to the side and down so that when I come here, I can get a perfect alignment with the front and the back here and in full bevel, but still square to the floor. So I'm gonna line my scissors up here in the front, and then we're gonna walk it back. Cross check, square to the floor, perfect. And then we come back to natural. You can see how everything is cupping under and you get that soft, beautiful shape to the side. Coming back up to natural, and you can give that just a little shake to see that shape really settle in. Beautiful. We're gonna continue with our horizontal subsections up to the top of the ear. Referring back to our zonal placement chart, we can now see that we are in the density zone. So this is where we actually perceive length to be. This is going to be our support area below the occipital bone. So here is where we're going to start the elevation process to build volume out, continuously cutting hair square to the floor. Again, basing over direction in two ways, moving the head and lifting the hair. So first and foremost, we need to understand that we're in square position to the floor. This is going to be strong. We want that, but we want it in addition to soft. So strong, cutting hair square to the floor, soft, moving the head forward. Now our secondary soft is going to be lifting the hair. So we have our first over direction of moving the head. Our second over direction and square to the floor is going to be lifting this subsection in our density zone, cross-checking to make sure that we have our established line of demarcation and moving to there before we make a cut that's going to be parallel to the floor. So this is going to give a little bit of a stacked finish, but it's going to continue with that full volume. Here, I'm going to be over-directing a little bit from the side into the corner here so that this hair accounts for the cavity zone that we have here where no hair grows. I don't want to cut this super short by lifting and creating a hole here. So it's imperative that I pull over, as it says on our cutting wheel, to over direct to preserve the length and the density underneath. So we are continuing cutting the hair square to the floor and also continuing to have the head in over direction forward. We're going to continue working in horizontal subsections from the nape until we get to our internal support system. Look back at your zonal placement. Let's get to work. Now that we've built the density zone here, I want us to see that when we move the head back into its natural position, what we're actually seeing is the apex being expressed through the nape zone. Now, I want you to think of the head like an egg. And if you were put to dip an egg in dye only halfway and roll it from the top to the bottom, you would get the same shape from the top to the bottom, right? And if you roll it from side to side, you have less curvature and movement. So what you are seeing right now is the top kind of teetering back to the bottom. All right, so we've got this beautiful density here, and now we're going to start deconstructing the volume at the top so this can be the star of the show. For the top portion of the hair with the internal support and the external movement, we are going to be doing vertical subsections. So going back to our cutting wheel, you can see that a vertical subsection is going to create a long subsection with less volume than cutting hair horizontal. Now here, I want you to understand and see the power of moving the head. So if I'm holding the hair out vertically here, I would be technically at a 90 degree and have long to short. But I want to add curvature and movement so I can put the shape of the head in. So here, that apex will showcase itself again throughout the subsection. And when I cut, I should get a beautiful bevel once more. Vertical subsectioning, lengthen, beautiful shape that went all the way down. And you can see that stunning shape that builds from the bottom, collapses, and then builds. Moving forward, we're taking our next vertical subsection and we're taking a quarter of our previous subsection, slightly over directing back. We're not fully over directing to our first subsection, but just a little bit. Now that we are in the front sections and have completed the back, but also let's have a celebration moment for the cuteness of this haircut. So we're getting into the front. Now we have a quarter of the amount of hair. So if we refer back to our cutting wheel, what makes hair look thicker and fuller? Cutting parallel to the floor. So we're going to utilize the same technique that we used in the nape on the sides of the hair as well until we get into our internal support zone and our external movement, and then we're going right back to vertical, just like we did in the back. Let's see. Here I have my length zone and my density zone, and I'm moving into my internal support system. Now, what I'm going to do, because I have less hair in the front, is actually incorporate my internal support system into the density zone to give the illusion that the hair in the front is just as dense as the hair in the back. So we're going to have very little external movement in this haircut, but that's okay because it's perimeter heavy. So vertical subsection to the floor, automatically creating width, dropping the hair down. We have our initial guide, which is right here. So I'm going to allow that hair to lay in its natural fall position. Now, this is the area in which I am not going to be tilting the head to the opposite side. It already has a bevel and I want strength. So I'm going to hold once more on that fulcrum and I'm going to add that hair into my perimeter zone, creating the illusion of density and strength. One more subsection to add to that perimeter before moving forward into our vertical subsection. Now that we've created a really strong perimeter, it's time to move on to our vertical subsection partings. This is going to tie the entire haircut together and we're literally going to do exactly what we did in the back. We're going to start with the vertical subsection parting and a quarter of the subsection from our back, and have gentle over direction. So I'm going to put the hair into the comb and then slide the head off to the side, protecting our length and density. Doesn't look like we actually have anything to cut. Second subsection, coming down, quarter subsection from before, gentle over direction, coming forward, and there's just the tiniest little bit. And just some soft hairs, just strengthen right there. Beautiful, nice strong perimeter, coming back up, beautiful bevel, soft on the top, and lots of strength at the bottom. It's exactly what we were looking for. We're going to repeat that process on the opposite side. It's fringe time. I'm really excited. This is going to be the part of the haircut that ties everything together. So we are going to be working in our two zones here, length and density, internal and external. So I want to show you first how we're going to incorporate head movement to get a strong and soft finish at the same time. I want to show you how to create a strong and soft finish with the bevel in the fringe zone. We're going to start by actually tilting the client back. Remember that egg shape. It's going to go forward and backward, and I want that bevel in the front, so I need to tilt that to the opposite side. Here we have slight over direction as the sides have to travel, but I want a full U shape to really frame this haircut. So I'm going to flip the hair from one side to the opposite, and here I'm going to cut perpendicular to the hair, understanding that it's going to bounce up just a little bit, and she's got a beautiful curl that we'll showcase in this fringe zone as well, making it a little bit shorter. So we're going to keep a little bit of that length. Let's have a look at our shape. Perfect. That's exactly the length that I wanted. And look at that gorgeous shape. Second zone, pulling forward. We've incorporated our internal and our external here. We're still in over direction backwards, bringing everything down to our natural fall. The sides again are traveling slightly, and I'm going to continue this movement to make the sides as extremely exaggerated as possible, continuing to cut perpendicular to the hair. This is going to build my perimeter zone, but also keep it in a beautiful U shape. Now, I want the fringe to be a little bit soft and full, so I need my external movement to be lifted slightly. So I'm going to lift past my length zone. We're going to come back into natural fall and just give a little bit of point cutting. This is going to break up those curls and give a little bit of volume on the top. We are down to the final details of our cute fringe bob. And what I want to do is actually connect this beautiful U-shaped fringe into the perimeter. So first I'm going to show you what I'm not going to do, which is take the hair and pull it forward to connect everything. So we're leaving the head in natural fall position, which is square to the floor, so that we have a strong finish here in the front. I want the hair here and here to look the same density, and right now it's pretty soft. So it's imperative that we don't over direct and we keep it right there in its strongest position. You want to insert your scissor where you're going to have the softest at the end. So this is going to be a full cut into soft. Let's have a check and see how we did. What we're doing here is an actual slide cut. One open, one close. Beautiful. To be perfectly honest with you, I had a whole plan. I was gonna round brush and flat wrap and do all the styling. But guess what? I had a happy surprise during this haircut. During the haircut, I showed you how to utilize the shape of the head to create shape in the haircut for you. And during the haircut, I got to expose her beautiful texture. I would honestly be doing a disservice to her and myself in this beautiful haircut if I were to change it at all. So guess what happened? I'm able to air dry her hair, a little bit of mousse in the salon, and she's gonna be able to do the same thing at home. It's not every day that you get to have a wash and go style that works perfectly for your body and your hair. It's time to reveal our beautiful finish on this cute French bob. Can we even? Now, as you know, no hooded dryer, no blow dryer, no diffusing, all her natural texture. But then we went in and deconstructed with dry shampoo. Now, instead of going through and moving the hair a lot and continuing all the way around. One of my favorite parts about this haircut is her fringe. It is so adorable and it's all her natural texture. One of those happy surprises along the way. So the three most important things with this haircut was understanding the power of head movement, creating that fullness at the bottom. Your horizontal subsection partings also going to be a strong finish and incorporating those vertical subsection partings towards the head. The placement of these is really, really important. Thank you so much for joining us for this French bob technique today. I am Presley Poe with Power of the Collective.